Alright guys, in this video I want to talk to you about PPC. Now PPC is one of the most important tools you'll have when launching and sustaining a product on Amazon. And I get a lot of questions from you guys about various aspects of PPCs, which most people don't cover in tutorials and stuff, and even I've done a tutorial in the past which doesn't really cover all of these questions. So I thought I'm going to collate all of your frequently asked questions into this one presentation and hopefully clear them all up. So the first question, which is almost impossible to answer, and that is, how much should I budget for PPC? Now, I don't want this to sound defeatist, but the way I work with budgeting for PPC is I look at the amount I am willing to spend in total before I would say, do you know what, this product is not working out and I'm going to move on to another product. So for example, I might sit there and go, do you know what, if I can launch this product for £500, fantastic, that'll work. If I'm spending more than £500, this isn't going to work out and I'm going to move on. And then that, I've got a worst case scenario budget to work from. And then what I would do is I would look at how many sales I need to achieve on a daily basis to get the ranks that I want to achieve. So if I need to, for example, hit 5 sales a day, I might start off with a £20 a day budget. And if I find that £20 a day budget gets me 2 or 3 sales, then I might up the budget as well as optimising it at the same time. I might up the budget to say £25 or £30 a day. However, if I say, for example, launch with a £30 a day budget and get 0 sales, rather than just upping the PPC because I can afford to with the £500 budget, I would instead go, do you know what, something else is probably not right here if I'm generating absolutely 0 sales. Now, if you're at the stage where you've got no reviews, obviously that will be playing a part and will be impacting your conversion rate. However, if your product is good enough, you should still be selling without reviews. Your conversion rate will be lower. So that's what I do. So I'll then start looking at other areas as to why that product would not actually be selling. Now, whether that's a price point issue, maybe the photography's poor or the listing's poor, there could be other reasons other than just PPC. So you don't just want to increase PPC unless you know you're actually going to generate more sales by increasing it. So a £20 to £30 a day test bed will give you an idea of whether you're going to convert. If you're not converting off £20 to £30 a day, then there's probably an issue elsewhere. So next question, should I use auto, manual or product campaigns? Now with my first product, I did launch it with an auto campaign. So I don't have anything against auto campaigns. They can work, and if you refine them regularly, they can be relatively cost effective. However, my current advice is to not use auto campaigns. Like Amazon aren't good at many things, but there's one thing they're experts at, and that is spending an auto campaign budget. So don't give them that chance to blow all of your budget. I prefer to use a manual campaign and or product campaigns because you have much more control over what you're setting up and the keywords you're targeting, and you know you're not going to get shown for some completely irrelevant adverts. So my recommendation would be with manual and product campaigns is what I'd go with, and avoid auto if possible. Should I use a suggested bid for each keyword? Short answer is no. A couple of reasons. First one is, if it's Amazon's suggested bid, then they're obviously suggesting that to everyone. So you don't want to bid the same as what they're going to be suggesting to everyone else. The second thing you'll find, if you're in the early days of a product, your suggested bid will get you nowhere near the front page in most cases. So you need to really up that bid to get anywhere near those first page or two. Quite often I've found I need to be almost double what the suggested bid is to get anywhere near those first 2 pages in the first week or 2 of a product launch. Now Amazon take into account the product relevancy. What I mean by that is they will also take into account your sales history and your reviews. So initially when your sales are low and you don't have any reviews, then they'll want you to bid a lot more than the competitor for you to appear above them. Because why would Amazon, if you're bidding £1.5 and your competitor's bidding £1, and your competitor's got 50 reviews and a really good sales history, and you've got 1 review and no sales history, for the sake of 5 or 10p difference, why would Amazon show you? They're going to show your competitor because they're more likely to make money from a sale than they will that 5 or 10p extra you've bid, because you're less likely to convert into a sale. So as your relevancy improves through established sales history and reviews, then you'll be able to start reducing your PPC bid. So don't be afraid to up your bid in the early days, because in the long term you will be able to reduce it. What is a good ACOS? Well, this is relative to the product itself and also the price point. So ACOS can be very confusing and can make you think as if your PPC is not going well. I'll give you an example. So if you're selling a product at £30 and you're spending £10 per sale, then you've got an ACOS of 33%. Now, if you're selling a £10 product and spending £10 to get that sale, you've got an ACOS of 100%. So you're going to be, oh no, my ACOS is 100%, that's terrible. Well, actually, do you know what? This is the launch part of your campaign. So what you're more worried about is the actual sales figures. So you're still getting the same amount of sales, even though your ACOS is 100% instead of 33%, if that makes sense. So the ACOS is relative to where you are in your product's lifespan or your launch during your launch period, and then it's also impacted by the actual cost of your product. You know, if you're selling a £100 product, your ACOS is probably always going to be really low because you're only going to be spending £5, £10, £20 per sale. That doesn't mean that it's a good ACOS. So I personally don't try to pay too much attention to ACOS. I look at more the overall conversion rate and also what the goals are for that specific time for when that PPC campaign is running. Okay, how many keywords and what type, i.e. broad, exact match, should I use in a campaign? I personally don't like to use any more than 10 keywords, ideally a few less, or I'd say between 5 and 10 keywords per campaign. The main reason for this is most of us aren't spending massive amounts on PPC. So by that I mean maybe most of us spending between £20 to £50 per day. Now if you've got 5 to 10 keywords in a campaign, you will start to get really useful data within a week or two because all of those keywords would have had some exposure. You'll get an idea about click-through rates, conversion rates, and whether they're generating sales. Whereas if you set up a campaign with 200 keywords, which I've seen quite a lot of, and then you've got a £10 daily budget, it's going to take you a couple of months before those 200 keywords have had a chance to actually generate any traffic and know whether they're any good. So keep that in mind, that the more keywords you add, the less data you're going to get, or the slower you're going to get data as to whether those keywords are any good. So try and find 5 to 10 really highly relevant keywords that also have got enough demand to sustain your launch campaign or whatever your goals are for that PPC campaign at that time. Why can't I see my advert in the search results? 9 times out of 10 you aren't bidding enough, as I've mentioned in the points above. If you aren't bidding enough, especially on a new product, Amazon will show the competitors instead of you. So the first thing I would say is up your bid and check it again an hour or two later. Up it by 10p at a time and then check it every hour or two to see if you've improved. If you've kind of found you'll get to the kind of £2 upwards and you can't find yourself in the first 10, 20 pages, then there's probably something else wrong with your advert. But 9 times out of 10 is you aren't bidding enough for that keyword, especially if you're running an exact match campaign and you know exactly what to search. If you're running an auto campaign, then you're not certain that Amazon are actually showing you for that keyword. So with an exact match campaign an exact match manual campaign, and if you're not appearing for your search results, then it's nearly always a bid. That is the issue. My main keyword is using up all the budget. What should I do? So you've got 2 options here. So this is, for example, if you've got 10 words in a campaign, you're spending £30 a day, and you're finding your main keyword chewing through £20, £25 of that. The first thing to consider is reduce the bid for your main keyword, so you can generate additional traffic for the same money. The second option is you can take your main keyword or main keywords, so you might have 2 or 3 keywords that are like this, and put them into their own campaigns. And what that does, it allows you to have individual budgetary control on those major keywords. So instead of spending £30 promoting 10 keywords, you might have £20 for 8 of them, and then you put 2 of your best ones in a £5 campaign each. So that's what I would do. Firstly, try reducing the bid, and then possibly split them out into their own separate campaigns. When should I turn off my PPC? For some people this will be never. For some people it will be soon after you've kind of established a sales history. And sometimes it's a personal preference of what your goals are. You know, if you've launched, you've got to number 1, you're doing really well, you might want to turn PPC off and see if you can sustain that position. Alternatively, you might want to keep PPC on to defend yourself. So if you're bidding for PPC, the top of the listings, as well as organically ranked first, you're making it much more difficult for your competitor to catch you. On the flip side, going back to my video last week, if you've kind of got to position 3, 4, 5 and you find you can't get any higher, maybe your PPC conversion rate is pulling down your overall conversion rate and click-through rate, and you aren't, maybe that's stopping you going higher. So consider that's a time to either throttle back the PPC, see what happens, or experiment with turning it off. But again, the actual decision of whether to turn PPC off should fit in with your overall goals for your product at that time and what you're trying to achieve. Does PPC include that? No, it doesn't. So whatever you bid through the Amazon campaign setup, if you're bidding £1, actually you're paying £1.20 because Amazon will add that VAT on at the end of that PPC run. So unless you're VAT registered, you will not get that back, and you will lose that 20% on top of your original bid. How often should I check my PPC campaign? Now, I check my PPC daily. That doesn't mean I make changes daily, and the longer you're running a PPC campaign, the less frequently you'll probably check it. But in those early days, especially if you're running an auto campaign, check it every day. What I do is I always check the following morning. It normally takes kind of until the next morning to get a full day's data. So by checking it the next morning, you can see whether there's an errant keyword kind of that is completely irrelevant if it's an auto campaign, or if, for example, if you've got an exact match campaign, if one of your keywords is using 90% of your budget and you need to split it out into a separate campaign, you can do that. So I check my campaigns daily in the early days. Then as the longer they're established and the happier I am with them campaigns, then I'll probably drop that down to every few days or maybe once a week. And finally, where do I get my keyword data? Well, when I first launched my first product, I used the auto campaign to generate the keyword data, and you'll probably see this in a number of the YouTube guides you'll find, and also in some of the courses they'll say run an auto campaign to 2 to 3 weeks, get all the keyword data, and then set up your own campaigns. Whereas I kind of skip that step now. There's no need to waste money on an auto campaign when you can go to, there's various tools you guys know that I use, Helium 10. You can go onto there, you can do the keyword lookup, get all of the relevant data, see the search volume, stuff like that. So that's where I get all of my keyword data for my campaigns, and that's how I now launch all of my campaigns, is using Helium 10, using Cerebro, using Magnet from Helium 10, and that's how I create my keyword data for my campaigns. So those are the 11, I would say, most frequently asked questions I've had about PPC. If you guys have got any additional questions, put them in the comments below. And if you want me to do more of these FAQ videos, let me know if there's a particular topic you want me to cover, and I'll see what I can do with future videos.